Hey everyone, I'm Heather Moxie and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how we installed our doggy door with what should have been a fairly easy DIY. If you're new to my channel, my husband and I recently purchased our first home. Of course, the very first project had to be a doggy door, but unfortunately we ran into some issues because of the placement. So I'll be showing you how we installed it and what we ended up doing that made it essentially a customized doggy door. And hopefully if you want to install a doggy door, cat door, pet door, whatever you want to call it, you won't run into the same issues that we did. So to install most pet doors, of course you'll need your pet door, but you'll also need a circular saw with a masonry blade, foam insulating spray, a drywall knife and outlet housing just in case there's a mistake, at least 6 feet of 2x4 for support, and something that's not pictured here is a multi-tool with a cutting attachment, and you'll only need it if you have to customize your pet door like we did. Before we get started, I do want to point out that all products used in this video will be in the description box, so check it out if you're interested in knowing more about any of the items we used. So originally this video was supposed to be part of our home tour, and when we ran into some issues, that's when we figured, you know what, we might as well make it a project because it ended up being a little more time consuming than this, cut and go type of box makes it look. We picked up a pet door from our local hardware store, and it came with all of the necessary, instruction that you would need. However, we actually found that the instructions and the template, they weren't that helpful for the area that we needed to put it, so we ended up giving my dad a call. He was the one who originally recommended that we purchase a blank outlet housing, the casing, the cover, because you want to cut a small hole first to see if you can even place your pet door in that area. That way, if you find out you actually can't, you can cover it with a blank outlet and you don't have to patch a large area of drywall. So this is actually right around the time when we realized we couldn't do this to the extent that we wanted to, and we had to call in reinforcements. Thankfully, my parents were able to visit us, and my dad was able to walk us through how we were going to customize this doggy door for the specific area of wall that we wanted it on. Plumbing and electrical were both going to be potential issues.
Let me hear is, let me see your tape measure. Is this mine or yours? Yours. So here's our stud, and here's our cut right there. Okay? Now, see where the outlet is here, Heather? Come around. Somewhere right there. So you trim this to go around it.
Okay.
You do this.
It'll
go around.
end up butting up
Right.
next to this
Now,
edge.
if you tell me I don't want that, I want to get rid of that outlet, then here's what I have to do. Come here now. See the stud there? Now I come here. Yes, I can kill the outlet. It ended up perfect that you cut accidentally right there.
But
Now we're right up against the water.
Okay.
So you have to go that way. I might be able to get in here when I cut and zip some of the stud out. Because this is supportive, this is stud.
The stud was extra. Yeah,
Right.
The third stud is extra.
Then what it does is it moves this over. Get me?
For the record,
Then I don't cut much
that's
outlet.
what I said and you said no.
No, I can't cut the stud out.
No, I didn't say
I'm gonna
cut it out.
vertically
I said-
zip a bit.
Yeah, I said trim a bit and you said no.
Now that that's settled, so my dad and I essentially had the same idea, but we were saying it in two different ways, and we'll have to see who he thinks came up with it first. But he went ahead and expanded on the hole that we had started to cut the previous day, and he began lining up the doggy door to fit between that one cross section of stud and outlet. Now, as he explained earlier, the studs that are framing our sliding door, we actually have 3 of them. 2 of them are there for support, and then the third one is there as an extra layer of reinforcement or an extra way to frame out that area. However, it's not load bearing. So what my dad and I were mentioning about crossing out or cross-sectioning that stud, it's not going to do anything to the sliding door or this specific area of wall. Now in this next very large section of this video, you will see that I essentially tapped out for this project. I enlisted the support of my dad, my husband helped him out a lot, but I gave myself the mighty job of camera work because when it came to cutting drywall, something about it, I think I mentioned it in our home tour, it just makes it a whole different ballgame for me. It's probably just because it's our first house and everything is such a big deal, but I don't know. So I was very thankful to have his help and have his guidance here because he does a lot of this work in his own field. And when you throw in questions like, will plumbing be in the way? Do we have to reroute electrical? Those are a little bit more than a Google or YouTube search. So I'm hoping that this video will help to give you the confidence to cut that hole in that drywall and just try it. And if you do decide to do a project like this or install a doggy door in a very unique spot, I highly recommend cutting that small outlet size hole first and going from there. Now here is where that additional 2x4 comes into play. I do recommend that you frame out the interior of your doggy door with pieces of 2x4. And the reason why we chose to do this is if you have a larger dog, over time them coming in and out of the doggy door, the plastic insert or the plastic interior of that pet door may start to break down because there's nothing underneath it. Once we framed that out, we added our foam insulating spray just to kind of keep a moisture barrier, especially because we have that plumbing on the opposite side of that wall. After the foam was dry and we checked the fit, we were able to measure exactly how much plastic trim was going to come off the interior to account for that outlet. And this is not something that will come as part of the instructions for a pet door, but we chose to add some silicone to the exterior part of our doggy door in the hopes that it would help to prevent any liquid getting inside the wall. Then we were able to pop both sides in, add the finishing screws, and it was done. Now, of course, this isn't the most ideal setup or placement. However, it still allows us to keep our dining room and our living space in a specific arrangement, and the dogs have access to the house. In reality, we will probably not be utilizing that outlet for anything, especially since it's right up against the doggy door, but we are happy that we didn't have to worry about taking it out completely, and it's still there if we need to use it, like when we're cleaning or something, I'm not sure. So as always, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. I make videos on a not so regular basis. However, I will be sharing more about what we're doing to our first home and how we're customizing it. You can also check out my Instagram at HeatherMoxieDIY, where you can see info about more up-to-date projects and what we're up to. But for now, I will see you in the next one. Bye!